Don't be scared. Work super hard. Your own authority, your own voice, your own opinions, they are just such opposite things. Your responsibility wants to grow something. Aries wants to do a 3-minute plank immediately when you haven't worked out in 8 years. Hi, my friends. I'm Meredith, your evolutionary astrologer, and today we are going to talk about Saturn's ingress into Aries. It is a big, fat, giant video. I am going to see if I can do it all in one video, but I want to talk to you about Saturn through the houses, Saturn through all 12 signs, and we really need to brace ourselves for this Saturn in Aries. This is huge. Why? Because these are very contradictory energies. Aries wants to go, go, go. It is very impatient, and Saturn requires patience. So systems and structures don't necessarily like this combination, nor do people. It is very difficult energy. Now, we also, as you know, we have Neptune in a conjunction with this Saturn in Aries. We also have Neptune in Aries, and they're all in big fat conjunction. So I already did my Neptune in Aries video, and now I'm doing my Saturn in Aries video. And then you have to combine these two energies to see how they go together. And they are just such opposite things mixed together. And it creates sort of a madness. It creates a confusion. However, I think it's important that we do understand the individual silos of these two arenas, energies, areas, before we combine them together in one great painting. Okay. What I want you to know, first of all, is that Aries in Saturn is going to have a little bit of a retrograde back into Pisces. But on May 24th, 2025, it moved into Aries, and then it's going to stay there until September 1st. So about Labor Day weekend in the United States. September 1st, 2025. And then it goes back into Pisces. So we revisit old themes, right, that we've been working on. And right around Valentine's Day, actually February 13th, 2026, until April 12th, 2028, we will be dealing with this sort of stop, start, like go fast. It's kind of like the military, like hurry up and wait. That's what this energy is. So we're going to be dealing with it between now and April 12th, 2028. So Saturn takes about 28 to 29 years to make a complete rotation and go all the way full circle back to the original place that it was at when you were born, your Saturn return, right? And it spends about 2 to 2.5 years in a sign because it retrogrades a lot. So I want to ask you what was happening in your life in about 1996, because that's the last time it was here. And it had a retrograde there. So 1996 to 1998-ish. Think about those times in your life and what were you doing? For me, I was like emerging into the world, and I was really stepping into the metaphysical part of my life. I really was struggling with my physical well-being and my health. And I got very, very ill and sick at that time. This time I am highly aware of my body and trying to take very good care of myself. So this is an echo chamber back to 1996. And I know I have a lot of young people. So some of you weren't even born, and some of you are having a Saturn return. And I do have a lot of Saturn videos on my channel. So I really recommend that you spend time learning all about Saturn on my channel. But this is an echo chamber. Saturn always is about achievement, developing wisdom, maturity, emotional maturity, psychological maturity, even financial maturity. We might even feel like things are slowing down a little bit. That's because they're coming into high focus. There is also usually a messaging around needing to face reality, needing to grow, and needing to level up, needing to take on more responsibility. So think about where you have these early degrees of Aries in your chart. Think about the meaning of the house in which those early degrees of Aries is sitting in 0, 1, 2, 3 degrees Aries. What house is that in? And that is where you are asking to, or that is where I would say the divine energy, your contract is asking you to level yourself up, to step into more challenges and therefore more responsibility. Your life might slow down a little bit in that arena because Saturn needs you to be really, really grounded and present to take it on. So today, at the time of this recording, Saturn is sitting at the very first degree. And so of Aries. So wherever you have 1 degree Aries, now listen to me, okay? I take into consideration 10 degrees before and 10 degrees after. And I consider a 10-degree orb in either direction when you're looking at a planet or a placement. So I am saying 1 degree Aries, but in your mind, I want you to think about anywhere between 20 degrees Pisces all the way to 10 degrees Aries. That little pizza slice is, and that might straddle 2 different houses. That place in your chart is really the terrain that I am sincerely talking about. But I'm going to say 1 degrees Aries for the purpose of this video, but in your mind, just remember that I take 10-degree orbs on either side of that degree. So right now, wherever you have that 1 degrees Aries, whatever house, that theme is going to come into high focus to help give you a deeper inner strength and to step into a higher sense of what you're capable of, your capacity, your capability, and your responsibility wants to grow something of great meaning, value, and strength. You are sort of forcing yourself to level yourself up. You will push yourself. Yes, the world might recognize you like, hey, Meredith, we're going to give you this promotion, but there will be an ache inside of me that will sort of force me into a higher, better version of myself around the planets in which I have 1 degrees Aries and around the house in which 1 degrees Aries sits in. You're being asked to step into really building and creating your legacy based on the theme of the house in which 1 degrees Aries sits in. And also the planet matters too. We're going to talk about it individually, but I just wanted to give you this is no small thing. You're really using your energy right now to create, figure out, and maybe know and learn and even experience the greatness that lives inside of you. You also are going to become more responsible for your own self, your own decisions. You might discover if you have a 1 degree Aries sun, you might see I've got me, I have to have me, I have to step into becoming my own authority, my own self. And so you're going to own your own power and your own strength over the next 2.5 years. Now I'll tell you, this can come with really a heaviness, heavy burdens. Your life, I think you're going to see, is going to make great meaning out of this Saturn transit. And you could really get recognized for the great achievements that you tackle at this time in your life. There can be even your greatest rewards can come out of Saturn. And this Saturn transit can produce maybe the greatest rewards, maybe your legacy, maybe your greatest sense of self, maybe your most powerful self, maybe your authority, your own voice, your own opinions are etched out of stone. Maybe you have the courage to break away from that world in which you believe or you have come to recognize has limited you. So where have you felt limited, right? Where have you felt limited? Now, Saturn does limit us a little bit. But there's also, when you're really working with the high side of Saturn, there's also an ability to step into our authentic power, that power that lives inside of us, and to become highly focused in our craft, in our talent, in our mission, in ourselves, to the point where we're so highly focused on disciplining ourselves around that which we want to master, that we do limit ourselves by cutting out the frivolous, by removing some of the meaninglessness in our life and stepping into that which is critical, that which is important to the evolution of my soul. If Saturn is touching a personal planet or an angle, the ascendant, the IC, the descendant, or the MC, or the sun, the moon, maybe even Venus, Mars, Mercury, or a stellium. a stellium, 3 planets or more, all within 10 degrees of one another. This is a pivotal karmic time in your life. Your life is probably going to be challenging and rewarding. So challenging, then you work hard to approach the challenge, solve the challenges, lean into the challenges, heal the challenges, and you come out with the biggest rewards of your life. So wherever you have those early degrees of Aries, you are going to be asked, or it's just going to be necessary for you to work diligently, practically, pragmatically, soberly, be very sober, be a critical thinker, put deep meaning into your work and roll up your sleeves and work super hard, facing your fears, taking smart risks. Because when you take wise or smart risks through all that you have learned, everything that you have learned about, investing in real estate or taking whatever risk you want to take right now, investing in your business. It's like when you make that investment and you work really hard for it, the value is immeasurable. The results are immeasurable. Saturn in Aries is going to have us collectively and individually, and how it shows up in your chart depends on which planets it's interacting with and which house is it in. But it's going to have us ask, how do you take initiative? Do you need to revamp how you initiate things? Are you too quick? Are you too slow? Do you initiate nothing? Do you initiate too many things? Are you being effective and efficient? Are you growing? Does your initiation sabotage yourself? What's going to come into the forefront is how independent are you? You are going to see that codependency does not work well with this transit. So wherever you are codependent, watch those connections and relationships possibly crumble. Saturn in Aries is also going to probably command and demand that you express yourself in the most authentic way, where you remove your mask and you come from what you truly value. I'll also tell you that Aries and Capricorn are the big bosses. They're the big zodiac bosses. And this is, how do you interact with authority? And how are you the authority in your life? And how do you exercise your discipline in the world? Are you disciplined? Are you disciplined? How effective is the leadership in you to others? So are you an effective leader for yourself and for others? I think it's also going to have a lot of lessons about integrity. Are you living in integrity? Is your partner in integrity with you? Saturn demands honesty, loyalty, and integrity, and even truth. So whatever house this is in, you might find new truths. You might find that you're not living in integrity, or you want to live in integrity. I'll also tell you that Saturn in Aries is going to bring you challenging tests, and maybe even physical tests, testing your physical limitations, just because Aries is quite physical. Don't be scared. But wherever you have weaknesses in your life, this Saturn in Aries wants to bring you a newfound strength. Strength, however, is not usually just served up on a silver platter like a beautiful lobster dinner. No, strength usually comes from doing we're going to do 100 sit-ups today, and we're going to do 105 sit-ups tomorrow, and 110 sit-ups the next day. And we're going to start with a 1-minute plank, and we're going to work up to a 3-minute plank. Nobody can just start off usually with just a 3-minute plank, right? You have to grow, you have to work at it, you have to build up. And so pace yourself with Saturn, because Aries wants to do a 3-minute plank immediately when you haven't worked out in 8 years. Saturn's also in Aries is also going to show you where you're not in control and where you are in control. And control and the having an authority figure over you, you probably are going to rebel against that. So who thinks they're the boss of you? Are you the boss of you? That's an honest question. Who thinks they are the boss of you? Because this is probably going to blow up. They're probably going to see very quickly that they can't control you, or you can't be controlled any longer. And so remember, you are going to become responsible for yourself with this Saturn in Aries in a much louder way. Saturn in Aries is going to light up this part of your chart and lend vitality, the possibility for a new physical well-being. And that might be that you're being tested, like you might need to push through physical barriers or boundaries. Like my Aries friend, he just played a very casual game of pickleball and he ruptured his Achilles tendon, and he is a big badass firefighter Aries, right? And so now this is like, and he's rehabilitating. So he's having to reevaluate his personal power and his self-care. And so Saturn can bring you an energy to, an injury to slow you down, or an obstacle to regain your strength. Your courage will be tested now. And I want you to really step into the pioneering spirit of Aries, where you will be able to blaze a whole new trail. I want you to know that you have an option over the next 2.5 years to really step into your individuality, your own independence, breaking free from the places, the spaces, and the people that you felt entrapped by. And I also think the Aries part of this combination can give us the vitality, the energy, the courage to fix the broken parts of our lives and to truly step into options, opportunities, ideology, philosophies, beliefs, methodologies that are genuinely best for our souls. I think you're going to see that there's an opportunity for you to bounce back from not living in your courage. If you have been reclusive or you haven't been tackling your dreams that require courage, this is a time when you could get a real vital boost of courageousness. And I also want to tell you that this is a time when you could really heal anxiety and fear. There's a humbling quality to Saturn, where Saturn, of course, doesn't want to lose, but if it loses with great integrity, like I tried my best, I did my very, very best, and I wasn't selected, it's almost like Saturn can deal with that a little bit better than Aries. But I want to tell you that you might step into a time where you learn the great lessons in life. You learn the character building lessons in life. I do want you guys to understand that Saturn and Neptune are in this conjunction together, and we won't be really working with Saturn and Aries all by itself for a while. When you work with the orbs, I will tell you that we will be dancing with the interplay, with the connectiveness of Saturn and Aries for about 1 year. So I'm recording this on 6/12/2025. So for about 1 year, because of that large orb, we will be feeling this, right? But the great conjunction, the exact conjunction, is going to happen on 2/20/2026. And so circle that day on your calendar and let's see what happens, because that conjunction is very powerful. It can be extremely volatile and it can be extraordinarily dramatic. Now, in my video where I talked about Neptune moving into Aries, I did spend a little bit of time on the conjunction between Saturn and Neptune and what it means. But you know, Saturn creates the rules and it creates the boundaries. Neptune erodes the boundaries. So we're looking at completely different, completely opposite energies. And we know that Neptune is going to stick around for 14 years in Aries. And Saturn, we've got that 2.5 years. So Saturn moves a lot faster than Neptune. But I'm going to tell you, I think a lot of different things are going to happen. Go listen to that video to hear a little longer version, but I didn't want to be redundant. And I also might do a whole entire video just on the two energies working together. But I'll just tell you right now that Neptune is the great idealizer. So, and it's quite glamorous, right? It can be the part of life that you have over idealized. And Saturn just puts a kibosh on that. So you could see a more pragmatic, realistic truth in the things in which you idealized. You can see icons might topple right now. Saturn does not like change, and Neptune is very fluid. You might see that there is a resistance to change until people are absolutely forced to surrender. You also might see the surrender underneath this transit, the surrender of old authorities that no longer work for us. You will also see that Neptune sort of depletes our energy because it just wants to have a margarita or a pina colada in a Hawaiian hammock, where Saturn wants to work its butt off. And Neptune wants to be in the dream and Saturn wants to be in the reality. The thing that I love about this aspect is it can actually make dreams come into reality. However, you can feel like utterly exhausted from the hard work that Neptune requires, and then you recharge your batteries in Margaritaville, right? In the hammock. Truthfully, you can right now, rather than chase pie in the sky goals, you can make your goals a little bit less idealistic, a little bit more realistic, and you can accomplish those goals, those dreams, those visions, those hopes. I also think if you blend the two energies together, you can find that there is a balance of having just enough energy, knowing that you need to recharge to work hard. Saturn in Pisces, we're going to have just a little tiny dip back into that, but that is, and we've been living in that energy where collectively as a whole, and maybe even you as an individual, we got to feel like we wanted to create systems and structures that benefited the whole picture. And when all living creatures. And now with Saturn and Aries, we might be looking a little bit more at what the individual self needs. This is a time that's going to require endurance and patience, and where our efforts and hard work will be truly valued and necessary. Okay, I just want to talk a little bit about health, because you have to think about Saturn diminishing the health in an Aryan way. So that is the head, that is the brain, that is the skull, that is blood flow, right? And so pay attention to if you get migraines, a stroke, or, defend against getting headaches, migraines, a stroke. And also this can create, a loss of memory or even any kind of brain dysfunction or an aneurysm. Also exhaustion. You might want to take on yoga, take medicinal mushrooms or vitamins. Make sure you're not iron deficient. Make sure you have enough blood flow to the head. Maybe do your headstand. I want you to be careful around your mind, your head. Unplug from electronics. Give your mind a rest. For real, give your mind a rest. Make sure you sleep. Make sure you do anything that reduces anxiety or having a sense of over nervousness. So let's talk about the zodiac signs. And if you have planets that are personal planets, so your sun, your Mercury, your moon, your Venus, your Mars, or your rising sign in the sign that I speak of, really listen up. So you might be listening to numerous signs. If you are in Aries or you have your rising sign in Aries, this is a time where you're going to step into the possibility of deep self-mastery. This is a time when you are going to step into the possibility of really, really growing and building your legacy. Who do you want to become? And really taking first steps or advanced steps into becoming the person who you want to always be remembered by. So this is a time when you're really needing to become quite efficient and highly aware of how you manage your day, how you manage your life, how you manage your energy. This is a time where you're going to really probably step into greater self-awareness, greater responsibility. Now, I should also say, if you're like me and you don't have one gosh darn thing in Aries, what you should do is go and look and see what house in which you have these early degrees of Aries in, and it's that subject matter that is of that house that is going to be lit up for you. For Tauruses, if you are a Taurus, the Saturn in Aries is really asking you to get out of the fog and really stand in the reality of where your life is and taking responsibility and becoming really realistic rather than idealistic around who am I? Who do I want to be? Where am I going? Where am I headed? And you might even feel like, I want to get rid of everything and I want to live out of a backpack and I want to move to a beach in Thailand. So this is a time when you might really feel like there is a desire to declutter your entire life and to really be courageous around living in a more spiritual way, living maybe even more like a mystic. I also want to tell you this can be when you can put your creativity into play and really make something important and valuable out of your creativity. with great pragmatics. Maybe you find an investor that wants to invest in your creative mind, your creative approach, your poetry, your music, your art, your spiritual wellness clinic, wants to invest in you, and you can literally make dreams come true with this Saturn in Aries. For Gemini's Saturn in Aries, you might find that right now you're not as social because you're highly disciplined and you're highly focused on your soul's goals, your soul's desires, your work, that which you want to accomplish and achieve in this world. And you might even be able to put zany or eccentric or wild ideas that you have into a reality that the mainstream can really appreciate or absorb. I think this is very, very beneficial. This is like a time when you can be quite innovative in your own life. You could be really accepted for your concepts that are a little bit advanced or futuristic or out there. I also want to tell you, you could step into like making a business out of the healing arts or making a business out of something that is extraordinarily unique. Your ideas will be tested. And I have confidence with this combination that you will pass that test. And I also want to tell you that you might get rid of friendships that have felt a little bit frivolous or don't help advance you in any way. This is a time when your perception of life and love and happiness and friendship and the meaning of life can really, really change. I'll also tell you that the hobbies or the jobs or the work that you're doing that you just don't feel are integrity with the bigger picture of your life, I think you'll say bye-bye to those things. You want to work on the things in your life that are deeply meaningful for you. For Cancers, this is in square to your Cancerian planets or Cancer rising. You could feel actually the stress and the tension of the responsibilities that are placed upon you, and that could grow an absolutely exceptional you right now. You are going to want to achieve a greatness in your life. You could even become a little bit competitive with your own goals, your own self, because you could see, or you might see that your work is a standout in your community, in your life, in the public eye in some way. For Leos, this could be really powerful. The largeness of your life will be tested and you might have to rein it in, get focused. You might need to rein in your kids, rein in your interests, rein in your hobbies. You might need to rein in, I don't know, the dance life, but there is going to be an opportunity for you through higher focus, more discipline, and also spending less, consuming less, taking in less in a way, so you can be more productive and more effective. This Saturn in Aries is actually, as odd as it sounds, it's going to help you speed up in the ways in which you need to and slow down enough to pace yourself appropriately. You are running the marathon and you have to pace yourself. Virgos work well with Saturn, but the Aries part could really drive you crazy. Virgos, you could feel like, gosh, my promotion's not happening fast enough. I want so much more from life. But let me just tell you, if you can really focus on finances, you can really grow your money, especially your money that you have inherited or invested, or your 401k, your financial routine. You can attract more resources to your life, more money to your life. I want to also tell you that I think you can go into deep, deep transformation around who you are being in the world. Saturn and Aries can encourage you to take smart risks that really can transform your life at a psychological level. You could have a paradigm shift. And I want to tell you, this is a time when you will really have a deep relationship with integrity. What is in integrity in your life and what is not, and getting rid of the things in your life that are not honest, that are not true blue, that are not loyal to your daily life, to your mission, to your own self-care. There's a deep opportunity to transform your life for the better, to level up in your own autonomy or your own power. So for Libras and the Libra part of your chart, I'm telling you, there is stress inside your relationships. It's not all bad. I had some really good results come out of some really hard lessons inside some of my relationships. So where if you are a Libra, or if you have those personal planets in Libra, some of your relationships are really going to be tested. And where you're codependent, I think you're going to see there's an opportunity to get independent of your codependent relationships. There's a real strength right now in your relationships, or you can grow a newfound strength inside your commitments. And the ones that can't hang with you, let them go. You will find partners, business partners, lovers, friends that actually can handle your energy. For Scorpio, this is very interesting, right? Because Scorpio and Aries are both Mars ruled. Saturn and Aries can really help Scorpio on the resources that you have within yourself. Use them wisely. Ask for your promotions. Ask for the things that you want. Step into the power that Saturn and Aries can lend to you around taking risks, living courageously, using your voice in a louder way, and really stepping into what do I want? And then on a daily basis, you stick to the Saturn program and you let the Aries part fuel you, right? Create more ambition. I think to live more boldly, you'll see that you can really manifest through daily hard work, through a daily practice of some sort, daily yoga practice, daily devotion practice. Devote your energy to you, to your goals, and you will see that your hard work will manifest it. Okay, Sagittarius I think Saturn and Aries is really going to help you get focused, and it's going to help you really become disciplined in who you are being in the world. It's going to help you in the commitments that you make to yourself and to other. You will be tested. Your creative approach to life, your authentic self-expression is highly revered, highly desired, highly wanted. You might you might audition for a part or a job or a role in which it resonates so deeply with your soul that the power that you get from that position is just so authentic, so inspiring, and so profound and powerful. This is a time when you could get really disciplined around building your life on your terms and be willing to step out of the box a little bit, pragmatically so, right? But maybe doing the creative, impractical thing in a way that is quite productive, ambitious, and powerful, and even lucrative. Okay, for Capricorns, very interesting, right? Because Saturn is their ruling planet. And I think this is actually really good for Capricorns because this is going to help Capricorns break free from that which oppresses them, suppresses them, and holds them back. This is going to put right here into high focus. What do you want out of life? What are your goals? What are your ambitions? What do you want to nurture? What do you want to make fertile in your life? So this is going to encourage Capricorns to really water their garden. And they're going to be in touch with reality. They're going to have an opportunity to really, really, really level up. It is going to be stressful and it is going to be hard. Why? Because it's in Aries, and Aries and Capricorn are cardinal signs and they don't get along. But this is going to help Capricorn sort of speed up its game. Yes, you're going to need to stay disciplined and you're going to need to stay realistic and you're going to need to make smart choices. But I think you're going to see that people will come to need you, want you, rely on you, and you will have an opportunity to really grow inside your own self, the person who you were born to be. So Aquariuses, I think, will do pretty well with Saturn in Aries. But there's a seriousness that this Saturn in Aries is going to lend to Aquariuses. Aquariuses can handle it, but I do think your ideas and your approach to life could be sort of challenged or tested. Aquarius doesn't mind Saturn, and it really likes Aries because Saturn is the original ruler of Aquarius. And so this is really going to give you a motivation to learn something new, to also use your voice in more of an authoritarian way. I'm not trying to say like be a dictator, be a crazy person, but I just mean finding power and a sense of authority and confidence. You might even be asked to use your voice or learn something new, use your voice in a stronger way. Maybe you're going to be asked to give a speech or a presentation where you wouldn't normally do so. For Pisces, I think Saturn in Aries is like going to make you want to like clean out all your closets. And it's going to, and I mean that metaphorically too, like really go in and do some deeper work and get yourself sober. And I mean that metaphorically. It might be literal, but this Saturn in Aries can really help motivate you around your dreams, around financial endeavors, building financial wealth, also paying attention to your own health, trying to step into more energy and vitality. So exercises that create vitality for yourself. I want to tell you that you could also do things, activities, spend time on things that promote your self-worth, promote more value, confidence, self-worth, self-value, doing work that makes you value yourself or shows you your value. This is also a time for you to really look at where you have felt that you have failed or disappointed yourself and to heal those wounds. This is a time for you to also have sort of a beautification, renovation in your life. So what do you want to beautify? There could be a new awareness or a new truth that presents itself around what beauty really is, and also maybe making your space or place more efficient, more beautiful. So that's all 12 signs. I want to tell you something really important. If you guys can only get one thing out of my shop, I just put my Seattle Workshop 2025 bundle up, and I recommend the entire bundle. Oh my God, the family tree astrology just will blow the barn doors off your soul. And I teach you Magi astrology. It's a totally different kind of astrology. And I show you the arrow that points to your soulmate. But my very favorite workshop was the agony and ecstasy of your chart. I will make you laugh. I will make you cry. And it has everything in between that. So if you really want to learn how to read your chart, how to find out what is extraordinary about your chart, what is hard about your chart, I really recommend that you buy the agony and the ecstasy in your natal chart in my shop. And it was the very last day of my Seattle 2025 workshop. It was so good. It was so good. When I rewatched it, I had my own self laughing out loud, almost spitting out my coffee. It was so hilarious and deep. And then it also made me cry. So it's a really great workshop. I highly recommend it. Of course, I want you to become a member, and I have special perks for my members. I read your charts in my live readings. I'm trying to do one a month live here on YouTube. And you also get to come to my Virgo Masterclass July 20th. Please go get your ticket. You can get my workshops and you can get your charts and reports and my masterclass at shopsoulnavigation.com. I'm doing Virgo, and that is Mercury, the 6th house, and wherever Virgo is in your chart. And if you have any Virgo planetary placements. And if you're a Virgo rising. Anyways, it's going to be great. That's on July 20th. You get a discount if you are a super supporter or superstar super supporter. It's free for you. It's my small way of getting to say thank you. I absolutely could not do these videos without my members. Please, please become a member. It's 10 cents a day. I am so grateful. And I would also really love it if you would please like this video if you like my content. And if you really like my content and you really want to help, go back and like videos that you've watched that you haven't liked before. Become a subscriber, and just know wherever you are in the world, my heart is with you from Seattle to wherever you're at. I wish you the very, very best. Take good care.